Thank you very much for joining me for this last session of papers. Indeed, I'm Virpi Roto from Aalto University, Finland, and I have a long and colorful list of co-authors of mine from many organizations. I'd like to first know how many of you come from industry or companies. I'm glad about that. Great. Because I'm actually talking about how to integrate experience design to industrial processes. There are no companies, as far as I know, who wouldn't like to provide great user experiences for their customers, but it's very seldom that I see good experience design processes used in companies. So that's why we work on this topic. So we propose that experience goals could be something that help industry to work on towards better experiences. We have done some work already on experience goals, so I won't tell in detail how to define the experience goals, but rather in this paper we talk about how to integrate the experience goals to the industrial design processes. I will spend some time first to explain what is experience design, because I know that user experience and experience design are terms that are used in very different meanings. And then I show the other sections that are listed here. This is just one example of the contexts where we have been working in. This is about remote operation of cranes. And we did this case together with Konecranes, that is a global company. So now, for example, this system is in use on the market. So we are very happy that the results of our experience design are now in real life context in use at the workplace. So, according to Markku Rosenthal, who studied industry and how they do experience design in companies, I found it quite disappointing, or to me it sounds like it's the basic traditional human-centered process that companies often call as experience design process. So they typically do user studies to find out user needs, wants, and pain points. Pain points is increasingly popular term as far as I see. And then the given technology defines the solution space. It's too risky for companies to provide new technologies often. I might take that back. Design iteration is done to get user satisfaction out of this process. So if we do this kind of experience design on this class now, I'd like to ask you, why did you come to this session? What are your user needs? Any answers? Can you tell? Okay. Everybody is tired, obviously. I have hard time hearing you, but needs. Sorry, I couldn't hear well enough.
I was talking about confidence. So users wanting confidence that what they're buying is actually going to fulfill their needs.
All right, thank you. Confidence. Yeah, I also think that hopefully some of you at least are here to learn about how to improve design in company, experience design in company. And this confidence comes once you have better understanding. So my solution for this would be and has been to create the PowerPoint slides, the technology I'm familiar with. And then I have been testing the slides with my colleagues and polished the slides and so on, rehearsal. In academia, experience design has been studied with many scholars already, long time ago. So what is common in these approaches for experience design is that you first define the intended emotional experience. User studies can help there, but there are also many other ways to find out what kind of experience to design for. And then once you have this experience goal, so to say, you can use any technology or service, face-to-face service, spaces or events to provide the best possible experience that you want to provide. And as an outcome, you not only get satisfaction from getting the right functionality, but this approach is to engage people, to make them flourish. So the emotional aspects as the starting point should bring much more than satisfaction. Sorry. So in this session, if we use experience design now, I know that it's the last day of a long conference. You are just back from the lunch. What kind of experience would you like to have from this presentation?
Coffee.
A learning experience, please.
Learning experience? What kind of emotion does it provide for you if you get good learning experience?
Curiosity, satisfaction, interest.
Yeah. Those are the things exactly that the experience designers try to find when they try to find what kind of emotional experience we should be designing for. So I thought that energizing would be excellent experience goal for this presentation. And the solution how I could do it could have been very different ways. I could have brought you chocolate, I could dance here, I could tell you jokes, but unfortunately I thought that that's not my way. So because of this context also, I think some interaction rather might help you to keep you awake and make your brain running. So that's why I ask you these questions, and some usability problems obviously make it difficult to communicate here. I cannot hear what you answer. And then polishing this kind of experience design means not only polishing the slides, although I try to use bright colors to energize you, but it's more about the structure, planning the structure so that we have the time for the interaction. That's very hard to do in 15 minutes, so maybe we hopefully have some time for questions in the end. So for companies, there are two radical ideas in this academic experience design approach. The first is that you would just take the experience as the starting point, because if I would have only the experience goals energetic here for this presentation, I wouldn't have the content at all, but I also want you to learn. So I combine the experiential goals with the more utilitarian goals or functional goals. The other radical thing is that any technology or any space design could be the outcome of the experience design process. That's very radical for companies as well. So, how really to introduce experience design to technology companies? This is the objective of our study. We found it really interesting to study this Woolrich et al., who say that instead of these experience design approaches that the academia has so far provided, we should actually provide industry some techniques and tools that can be integrated to the existing processes. So we don't want to define yet another design approach, but we want to have small techniques that industry can utilize when they feel like it, and integrate them to the existing processes indeed. So Woolrich has a nice metaphor that this experience design work is like cooking a meal. They actually talk about usability evaluation is cooking a meal. But, I recommend that paper for you. So we did indeed 4 case studies in industry, and we utilized the experience goals in each case and then analyzed how well they worked. To be able to analyze the processes, we sent in some researchers to work together with the companies rather than having the companies work alone. And this was in such way quite realistic context, but not equal to real life. 4 cases were in heavy industry. I only present here the future factory case, but I cannot really read the description here. Maybe I try to do it. So future factory was about future vision to the distant future of 10 to 15 years, to think about how the work processes and the control room itself in the factory could be like. The experience goals were trust in automation, sense of freedom, ownership of the process, relatedness with the work community. So these are not utilitarian goals, as you see, although they have some links to the real work. And then we analyzed how the experience goals influenced the investigation activities, design activities, and evaluation activities. And the processes were different in different cases. Sorry. The future factory case was one where the investigation took a long time, and when experience goals were used to provide visions of the future, and these visions were evaluated, we noticed that the experience goals need to change according to the visions of the future. So the Xgoals were actually outcome of the project. And then there were cases where experience goals, the third case, experience goals were set when the researchers and industry people met in a kick-off session, and after that meeting the experience goals were set, so very efficient compared to the first one. And the design implications can come out from the experience goals. So, in design activities, there was good points of experience goals where that they helped to gain shared understanding of the target experience. Everybody knows in this project team what we are after. And also because there are many other requirements, experience goals help to bring the emotional aspects more equal level. as other pragmatic goals. Then there were some other challenges, like what kind of abstraction level should the experience goal be on, and then like how to get from abstract experience goal to the actual practical design solution. There was different ways to do that. Either the one designer just decided how to do it, or in some cases there was very systematic process. Then the evaluation activities, how you can utilize experience goals there. When you plan evaluation, it gives you some criteria to evaluate against, but in industry there are often a long list of other criteria as well. Then when you evaluate early prototypes, it's very hard to evaluate the experiences, because there are functional and contextual and aesthetic shortcomings in the prototypes, so people just comment on these shortcomings and they never get the actual feeling of the experience that the designers were designing for. And then I already told that in the Future Factory case, when the evaluation was done, we didn't only have to change the vision of the future, but also the experience goals. So that was something we didn't realize in the first place. To conclude, companies were really interested in experience goals utilizing, because they were simple enough but had a big effect on the outcome. So they were a powerful tool for them to focus on experience. And it helped to keep the emotional aspects on the table with many other requirements. And the outcomes are pretty good as well. Already 2 out of 4 products are on the market. Not the Future Factory yet, it's coming, 15 years to wait. And I must say that this is the first study we have found on this topic, so definitely there are many challenges still to be tackled. As a general output for you, if you want to work on this field, maybe you find these lessons learned from our 4 cases useful when you design experience design tools for industry. You can study it in our paper. So it's soon time to go home, so I have some souvenirs for you if you are interested in this. This research program has finalized. We have the final report. I brought some books for you. And if you are interested in this experience design method that we use with experience goals, some student works are reported here as well. So thank you very much.
I have a question. Can you comment on the level of abstraction or the granularity of goals? Is it better to stay abstract, or should we go into the granularity?
Oh yes. So I see that we need a hierarchy of experience goals. So in some cases, like the Future Factory, I think used an experience vision that is one common statement about the Future Factory. And from there, you can derive more specific experience goals. So it's like a hierarchy. And it's very well to energize.
Okay, so here we are on the last afternoon of a 6-day conference.